Let's go to Washington and speak to the political analyst Calvin Dark. Calvin, thank you so much for your time. Do you think that after Super Tuesday, the moderates in the Democratic Party have got their own way and are steering the course that they want? Because earlier in the campaign, we had seen possibly what people were saying was a fight for the soul of the Democratic Party, with Bernie Sanders bringing his more progressive policies to the party.
Yes, I think one thing that we can say for sure that happened over the last week since the debate in South Carolina and then the South Carolina primary and then Super Tuesday is that the moderate, some would say the establishment Democratic Party, decided where to place their bets. And not just the voters and not just the party leaders, but the other candidates like Mayor Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, and of course with Mike Bloomberg dropping out. So what is clear is that the moderate parts of the party have decided where they want to focus their energies.
It wouldn't be surprising listening to what Elizabeth Warren's team are saying if she drops out in the next few hours. Even really bad night for her, not even winning her own state, for goodness sake. What is Donald Trump thinking when he's watching all of this? I'm going to eat these guys alive, or one of them might actually challenge me?
Well, I think just from a purely political standpoint as who he believes it would be easier to beat, I think that's Bernie Sanders. And that's mostly because of the way that Donald Trump and some of the Republicans have painted him, you know, I think misrepresenting tenets of socialism and that democratic socialist label that Bernie Sanders has adopted for himself. I think he believes that that would be a stark contrast to make it easier. But with Joe Biden, you've got someone that's known and you've got someone that's more moderate that could possibly convince some of the people in the middle to go for Biden over Trump. So I think that Biden is the strongest candidate, and you can tell by the way Trump's talking that he believes that as well.
If Bernie calls himself the democratic socialist that he is, many people would say, OK, well, that actually might be your main weakness. But what about Joe Biden being this moderate, this guy who for 8 years stood side by side with Barack Obama, a particularly popular president? Not, of course, with extremely right-wing Republicans, but with the general public in the United States. What is Biden's weakness? What is it that people will look at and say, that's the thing I'm not sure about with Joe Biden?
Well, I think that Joe Biden's record is both a huge asset and it's going to be a challenge because just like Bernie Sanders, both of them have decades of political moves, decisions, causes that they've championed, legislation that they've been a part of, more so for Joe Biden than Bernie Sanders. So I think the difficulty is going to be as Joe Biden continues to rise and, you know, is the front runner now, he's going to have to confront some of the things from his past positions he stood for. Now, the good thing is he's already had to do a lot of that during the primary, but I think that's only going to intensify.
Calvin, really appreciate you spending time with us. Calvin Dark, political analyst, speaking to us from Washington.